Welcome back, friends. In this video, we shall see some interesting art patterns created using this module called pyfiglet. Now, pyfiglet is a Python module which we can use to create ASCII art. I'll show you later on how to use it. It's actually very, very simple. Basically, we provide a text to be printed and then it prints it in a very stylish format. And we specify, there are multiple fonts available. So we specify whatever font we want. So for example, when I use regular and I'm trying to print YByte, notice the regular font is using, say the backslash, forward slash, the dashes and so on to create a very interesting font. Now I can go forward and say I use what is called the slanted font. I get the similar style, a similar style, but this is now kind of in italics. Next, using 3D, which requires a little bit more space between letters, I get, a 3D looking rendering. And notice here only stars and, forward slashes have been used. Now, one thing interesting here is to think about the kind of logic that has gone into these and possibly try to implement some of this, yourself, even though this is kind of ready-made. 3 by 5, it's using only hashtags and it kind of gets a fairly decent representation of YByte. Now, again, could be very interesting letter art idea. Then there is this 5-line oblique, which is a little bit more involved, but notice how beautifully this renders the word YByte using forward slashes, brackets, and so on. Then we have alphabet, which is kind of similar to the letter art we did in the class, but a little bit different as well. Yeah, but anyway, good idea. Then we have this banner 3D, which I thought is very, very interesting because it's only using hashtags and the hype, these dots, right? And it's created a beautiful 3D effect. Now, again, this is something we can actually create using logic, and good to think about that. Then we have this door, which results in a very large print. So I just printed WB. Notice it's using W and B, the letters, as we were also using, and some dots, but arranged in a beautiful shape. Um, Now we have this isometric, which is kind of like a 3D view. So again, it takes a lot of space. That's why I printed only Y byte, like WB. This W, this is B. Then we have letters. Once again, it's kind of similar to alphabet. So Y byte looks quite prominently there, you know. Then we have this font called alligator, which looks quite interesting too. It's like, let's say hashtags on the bottom and dots on top and a mixture in between. We have this dot matrix, which is using like, these brackets and dashes like, pixels and creating a nice print. Again, this gives a pretty, interesting idea. Um, they have this bubble, which is basically Y byte written pretty much normally, but then covered in this. Now, to do something like this, we have to essentially print five, let's say for, one, two, three, yeah, 5 lines of code. First line has only got dashes with some spaces in between. So we can use a sep command there. Next, we have a pattern of, let's say, a forward slash and a backward slash, forward slash, backward slash, and so on. So, again, sep and sep can be used for this. Then we have, you can again see a kind of pattern emerging, the text we are printing and these vertical lines, and then kind of repeat of that. So this is definitely something we can think of creating on our own. Next, we have this thing called bulb head, which is also quite interesting because it gives a very nice sort of wavy feel to the text. And then we have this digital, which is again quite kind of similar to bubble, but it's actually simpler because it's just in a way 3 rows of 3 lines for the text, right? Now these are all very interesting patterns. Now you may wonder, how did I get this? So let's look at this code. It's actually very simple as well. All we have to do really is to import this module. So I said import pyfiglet, and that's pretty much it. Because then once it's been imported, then all we really do is to call, figlet, pyfiglet dot figlet format, the string that we want to print. So mostly I'm printing YByte. That's why I assigned test to YByte. And after that, I can keep telling the different fonts like I was mentioning here. I'm going to put some references in the description below so you can use this quite comfortably. Not hard to use, but like I said, it gives interesting, not only interesting patterns, but also interesting ideas. So, like I said, mostly I used YByte, but in some places I use, for example, YWB. And for each of these, I've written a little bit of description here. So, again, I hope this is useful. This is interesting. You can use this in your projects, and also get some ideas from this. Probably think of even extending something like this. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.